Hi, we're here today to make sure that everyone knows just how easy it is to file an ethics complaint. First, let us introduce ourselves. First and foremost, I'd like to introduce Linda Bielinski, Executive Vice President of the Minnesota Association of Realtors. And I'm Jim Dattalo, member of the Minneapolis Area Association of Realtors and a longtime member of Professional Standards. Linda, first and foremost, let me ask you, who can file an ethics complaint?
Jim, anyone can file a complaint. It can be a consumer, a member of the public, or a realtor. The key is they have to have first-hand knowledge of the situation or the transaction. That said, anyone can file a complaint.
Thank you. Linda, there's a lot of misconceptions of how hard it is to file that complaint. Can you help us out with that?
Okay, let's set the record straight, and maybe the first thing we should make sure is that everyone knows how to get the complaint form to start the process.
Well, that's pretty easy. I've done that, and if I can do it, anyone can do it. All you need to do is go to minnesotarealtor.com and click on professionalism, then click on Code of Ethics, and there you are.
And if anyone doesn't have internet access, they can just give us a call. We'll be more than happy to send them out the paperwork along with a copy of the Code of Ethics.
Linda, once that happens, then what happens from there?
Well, they're going to fill out the form, they'll send it in to us, and once we receive it, we immediately notify the agent who has been named in the complaint along with the broker. Then we get the grievance committee to review the matter, and that takes about 3 to 4 days. When the grievance committee reviews it, they don't conduct a hearing. They simply look at the complaint, and there are 3 things that they do. First, they want to make sure that the correct parties are named, that it is filed within the correct time period, which is 180 days from when they first had knowledge of the situation. And then lastly, if the information that has been written is true on its face, could this be a violation of the Code of Ethics? If it is, then it gets forwarded on to a hearing.
Is it at that point that the respondent prepares a written statement?
That's right. At that point, the respondent then would make the response back into us, and we begin then setting up a date and a time for a hearing. And then we send that notice out. There has to be 3 weeks notice or 21 days notice so that they have adequate time to prepare.
Okay. Now, when the individual goes to the hearing, they can bring in witnesses, they can bring in their managers, other brokers, they can bring in an attorney to represent them if they will?
That's correct. And also, when the hearing, what actually happens at the hearing is it's a fact-finding situation. Both parties make an opening statement. The complainant brings forth the allegation. They have witnesses that can testify on their behalf. The other party then gives their version of the transaction, the situation, and then the hearing panel is going to ask questions of the parties. They want to make sure that they know just exactly what happened in the transaction and that they have a very good idea of the facts before them. Then they'll make a closing statement. Each party makes a closing statement, and then the panel will stay in executive session to render a decision.
Linda, we're going a little bit off the script here, but one of the things that we have talked about in the past is the panel. Who's the panel?
The panel is made up of realtors. We have about 300 people on that panel. They're from all over the state. They attend training. They have to be trained every year, and they take the job very seriously. They don't like it when these complaints come in. They want to make sure that everyone has a full, fair opportunity to be heard, and they need to make sure that there's clear, strong, and convincing evidence when that complaint comes in. So they're well trained, they take the job very seriously, and they don't get paid for it.
It's a lot of work. The discipline can range from a letter of warning to required education classes to fines to up to $5,000 and suspension and even termination of the realtor's membership. Is that true?
That's true. Very serious, Jim.
Is there teeth in the system?
Oh, there is teeth. Let's say there's a fine. If the fine isn't paid, after 30 days, the member is automatically suspended. It's right there in our bylaws. It's a policy. After 60 days, that member can be terminated at the action of the board of directors, and after 90 days, it's automatic suspension. Also, when the discipline is written, there's a what if in there. So if there's like education classes and those classes aren't taken on time or properly done, then there's the what if. Sometimes there's an additional fine, sometimes it's suspension until those classes are taken. It's very serious.
Thanks, Linda. From a timing standpoint, the person filing a complaint has about 2 hours to that from the point where a person is actually doing the work. It's probably 2 or 3 hours worth of time to prepare for that. And then there's maybe anywhere from a 3 or 4 hour period of time when we're actually in the middle of the tribunal where we're doing the presentation and we're listening to testimony.
That's correct. It really doesn't take that long and that much out of a person's busy schedule to file a complaint. It's a tough market out there, Jim, and agents have to conduct their business in accordance with Minnesota license law and the Code of Ethics. Unfortunately, when agents decide to rewrite the rules or to vary and go off on their own, they need to be held accountable. And the only way that's going to be done is if someone's going to file a complaint.
Linda, thank you. You and I both know that there's a lot of complaints that go left and no one ever files them, and people are thinking that it takes way too much time to do it. And I think that what we've seen over the past is those people who do file a complaint feel better about the process. They feel better about the decision. We take it very seriously. We don't just look at it as a commonplace thing, and we wish that more people would do it. Do you agree?
Absolutely, Jim.
Thank you, and thank you very much for everyone's time, and have a great day.